Hi, welcome to another 30 minutes Pilates. This class is going to be very core based, so I hope you enjoy. Watch the pre-information class first and we'll get straight to it. So we're going to start with our setup. I want you to have your feet together. We're going to turn our toes out and we're going to take our heels out to join them. So just glance down and check that they are roughly below your hips. We're then going to think about anchoring down with our big toe, our little toe and our heel. So just equally distribute the weight in your feet. Coming up to our knees, we're going to have them nice and spongy, so just give them a little bit of a wiggle. Up to our hips, we're going to imagine we've got two little headlights on the front of our hip bones. They're going to be level and they're going to be facing forward. Now inside our pelvis, I want you to imagine you've got a bucket of water. It's completely full to the brim. So if you tilt one way or the other, you're going to slosh that water and you're going to spill that everywhere. So you want to make sure the pelvis is nice and level and we're keeping that water inside the bucket. You may just need to tuck the pelvis under slightly. A lot of the time we tend to relax back, so really just think about tucking that in. Coming into our midsection, we're going to put a little bit of tension in our belly button, so just think about pulling that back towards the spine. Our ribs, we're going to think about knitting those down in towards our pelvis as well. So we've got this nice section all here that's all pulled in nice and tight. Make sure you can still breathe. We've just got that little bit of tension there. So I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. As you do this, we're going to pick our shoulders up towards our ears. We're going to push them back and we're going to breathe out through our mouth. Fantastic. We're going to do this a couple more times. If you want to close your eyes while you do this, you can. Just let the arms be relatively relaxed, but just think about picking those shoulders all the way up to the ears, squeezing them back and sliding them down your back. Working with your breath, so in through the nose, back out through the mouth. So we're really filling the lungs with air. We're just slowing down the heart rate, just relaxing, just leaving all our problems behind for half an hour. They'll still be there when we finish. Just make those circles a little bit bigger each time, so really squeezing them up towards the ears. We're going to do two more. And then we're going to slide the shoulders down the back. Fantastic. We're going to do our lateral flexion next. So I want you to think about having a cord to the top of your head and it's lifting you up towards the ceiling. So we're lengthening up through that spine. We've got a pane of glass in front and behind us. And we're just going to slide in between those two panes of glass. So again, just let the arms dangle. We're breathing in through our nose. And we're breathing out through our mouth. We're lengthening up in the center each time. So we're just growing that a little bit taller. And we can just let the neck go as well. Just get a nice little stretch down either side of the neck. In through your nose, back out through the mouth. Keeping the knees nice and spongy. I'm going to go one more each side. We're going to finish back in the center. I'm going to grow that spine up nice and tall. We're going to do our bow and arrow. So this is for our rotation. So take a deep breath in. We're going to float our arms roughly to shoulder height. On the out breath, we're going to bring that elbow back towards the waist and we're going to twist that shoulder around towards the side. And bring that back up into the center. So breathing into the nose, breathing out, twisting that round, bringing that back up. Fantastic. So you want to make sure that your pelvis is still facing forward. So those two little headlights on the front are facing forward. I've said that. You know what I mean. Lengthening up through the spine when we get into the center. Just twist the head slightly further around as well if you like. Let's get that nice neck rotation. I'm going to check out my lovely new picture frame as I do that. So in through the nose, back out through the mouth. And you should notice that the shoulders are starting to warm up slightly. And the back's maybe feeling a little bit looser. It's especially nice if you've been sat down all day. Okay, we're going to go one more each side. We're going to make sure we're nice and even. I'm going to finish back in the centre. We're going to float the arms back down. And we're going to do our roll down. So make sure you've got enough room in front of you. I'm going to change my position slightly. You can take the feet slightly further than the hips if you prefer. We're going to lengthen up to the spine. We're going to take a deep breath in. On the out breath, we're going to tuck the chin in towards our chest. We're going to roll our shoulders down. We're going to keep the belly button pulled in. We're going to put a bend in the knees. We're going to keep rolling that spine down. Just halfway. We're going to breathe in when we get here. And then we're going to breathe out and slowly roll that back up. Vertebrae by vertebrae, stacking them back up one by one. We're going to finish with the shoulder roll and the head. So breathing in at the top. Breathing out, we're going to repeat this movement a couple of times. So rolling that down. Maybe see if you can take it a little bit further this time. Breathing in when you get there. And then breathing out and slowly rolling that back up. So we're keeping a nice bend in the knees. We're not overstretching our hamstrings. We're working with our breath. Really trying to tuck the head in. And just letting the arms dangle. We're keeping a little bit of tension into the belly button. Just take it slightly further down each time. Restacking that spine. Always finishing with the shoulders, then the head, lengthening back up. I want you to imagine you're like a slinky going down the stairs. So you're just slowly rolling down, vertebrae by vertebrae. We're going to do one more. So lengthen up, really tuck that chin, roll the shoulders, keep the belly button in, bend in the knees, relax the arms, relax the head. We're going to finish down. So when you get to the bottom, we're just going to dangle here for a second, just put a bigger bend in those knees. If you want to place your hands on your elbows, you can do that like a ragdoll position and just let the arms loose. Maybe just give the head a little bit of a wiggle too. Just take a couple of breaths here. Just let gravity pull the top of your head down towards the floor and just feel the space in the spine. When you're ready, we're going to come down onto all fours. We're going to have our hands roughly underneath our wrists. No, we're not. That's where they live. We're going to have our hands roughly underneath our shoulders and they're shoulder width apart. We're going to have our knees underneath our hips. And we're going to have the head in a neutral position. So the gaze is going to be roughly at the top of the fingertips. We're going to do our thoracic rotation. So I want you to pick up your left hand and place it on where your left back pocket would be. I'm going to have the elbow bent up towards the ceiling. Now I want you to think about pushing down through that right hand so the shoulder's engaged. We're going to take a deep breath in. On the out breath, we're going to twist and we're going to open the chest out. So we're pulling that shoulder back, we're rotating to the top and we're bringing that down. Fantastic. So we're going to do this 8 times. So you're breathing in at the bottom, you're breathing out on that movement. You're thinking about squeezing the shoulder blades together to pull that shoulder back and the hips are staying still. So we've got the hand on that back pocket to make sure the hips don't move. You get that instant feedback. So breathing in, we're still pushing down with that opposite wrist, twisting that round. We're trying to open the chest out. We're aiming to stack the shoulders on top of each other. Into the nose, out through the mouth. Once you've done your 8, we're going to switch sides. So just reset yourself first. Make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders, knees are still where they need to be. I'm going to place the opposite hand on that back pocket. Breathing in, breathing out, twisting that round. So we're going to do 8 this side as well. So think about still pushing through that wrist. We're keeping the belly button pulled in too. The hips are staying where they need to be. We're pulling the shoulder blades together. We're breathing in through our nose. We're breathing out through our mouth. We're keeping the movement nice and slow and controlled. Rotating that round. Once you've done your 8, and place both hands back flat on the floor, and I want you to take your hands just slightly over towards the left hand side. So if you've got a mat, take them over to the left hand corner of your mat. We're then going to sit our bum back, and we're going to be in a nice diagonal child's pose. So you should find a stretch down the right hand side of the body. Just place the forehead on the floor, take a couple of deep breaths here, stretch that out. Okay, we're going to bring that back up into the center, so back into all fours. We're going to walk our hands to the middle and then walk them over to the right hand side. We're then going to sit the bum back this side. And you should feel a stretch down the left hand side of the body. Again, place the forehead on the floor and just take a couple of deep breaths in here. Fantastic. When you're ready, we're going to come back up into our kneeling position, and we're going to roll over onto our back. So we're going to do our dead bugs now, which we have done before. It's swimming on all fours, but the other way around. So we've reversed it. So I want you to lay down onto your back. If you need a cushion or a pillow or anything like that, please feel free to grab one. You're going to think about keeping the belly button pulled down. So we want to get rid of that gap in between the lower back and the floor. So we're really pulling that down. We're knitting the ribs down as well. So try not to flare the ribs out. What can happen is sometimes we pull that down and we flare the ribs up. So think about pulling it all down towards the floor. We're going to float our arms up into towards the air. We're going to pick our feet up as well into our tabletop position. So we're in that swimming on all fours position, but we're the other way up. We're going to breathe in through our nose. On the out breath, we're going to extend our right arm back. So just drawing that line straight all the way back, bringing that back up into the center. We're going to do the opposite arm. So breathing in, breathing out, extending that arm back, making sure the back does not lift up off the floor, bringing that back. We're going to do our legs. So breathing in, breathing out, just straightening that leg just to a 45 degree, bringing that back in, and the opposite leg. So breathing in, breathing out, straightening the knee, bringing that back in. Fantastic. So if you want to keep this going, you can do arm, arm, leg, leg. If you want to challenge your brain more than anything, we can do opposite arm to opposite leg. So we just extend the leg and the arm at the same time. So just pretty much out to a 45 degree angle, and then slowly bringing that back in. So you're breathing in through your nose, and then you're breathing out through your mouth as you do the movement. Bringing that in really slow and controlled. Now really think about keeping the belly button down towards the floor. You'll notice as you extend the arm and the leg, your back wants to arch. Don't let it do this. If it does start to arch and you can't keep it on the floor, just go back to doing single arm or single leg. It is a challenging move, and the slower you do it, the harder it will be. Just work with your breath. So in through the nose, out through the mouth. Keeping the whole of the spine on the floor, just to that 45 degree angle. We're going to go one more each side. Taking your time. And then we're just going to bring the knees in towards the chest and wrap the arms around. And just rock side to side for a second, just take a couple of breaths here. So if you're still finishing that off, make sure you're keeping that belly button in, and we're keeping that flat towards the floor. So just tuck the knees in, wrap the arms round, and take a few seconds here just to breathe. We're going to do our glute bridge next. We're going to start with our marble rolling. We haven't done this in our 30-minute classes before. If you have done another one of my classes, we will have done this before. So I want you to take your hands up into the air. We're going to join our thumbs together, join our fingers together. So we've got like a diamond shape. That diamond we're then going to place flat on our belly. So the thumbs are going to be just above the belly button and the fingers are going to be pointing down towards the feet. So in that little diamond, I want you to imagine you've got a marble. You can also have a Malteser as well. I won't judge. We're going to think about rolling that marble towards our thumbs. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to pull our belly in, down towards the floor, and we're going to tilt our pelvis. So we're going to roll that towards the thumbs. So we're tensing everything, we're tilting the pelvis. We're then going to roll the marble the other way. So we're going to take that towards the fingers. So we're just going to release and we're going to tilt our pelvis the opposite way. So just keep rocking the pelvis forward and backward on the floor, rolling that marble towards your thumbs and then rolling it back towards your fingers. Breathing in through your nose, breathing back out through the mouth. You'll notice the back lifts up off the floor and then flattens back into the floor again. So just get used to how your body moves. If you want to stay doing this, you can. If you want to increase, we're going to place the hands flat either side of the floor and we're going to turn this into our glute bridge. So just bring the feet closer to the bum. Knees are going to be up in towards the air. Breathing in through your nose, arm that out breath, pushing through the feet, squeezing the glutes. We're going to tilt that pelvis and we're going to keep the movement going all the way up into that ski slope position. We're going to breathe in when we get here and then we're going to breathe out and we're slowly going to place the spine back down on the floor, rolling that down. Fantastic. So breathing in, breathing out, squeezing the glutes, pushing through the heels, tilting the pelvis and peeling the spine up off the floor. So you want to imagine the spine is like Velcro. So you're starting from one end, working your way to the other. Work with your breath. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out on the movement. Breathe in when you get to the top. And then breathe out on the way back down. I want you to make sure you're counting to about 4 or 5. You can increase this count a little bit more if you like. The slower you go with the movement, the harder you'll find it and the more challenging it will be. Make sure your shoulders haven't crept up towards your ears. You may just need to wiggle them back down a little bit. They do like to be friends. So really pushing with the feet and squeezing the glutes as we do this. This works all the muscles in our posterior chain. So you'll probably feel it in your calves, your hamstrings, your glutes, your core, all the way at the back of the body. It's a really good all-round movement and it's really good for the pelvic floor too. Okay, we're going to do 2 more. So breathing in, breathing out on that movement. Once you've done your 2, we're going to do a nice little stretch. So take your time finishing those off. We're going to then pick up our right leg. We're going to place the right foot on the left thigh and we're going to push the knee away. Now you can stay here. If you want to increase, you can pick the left foot up off the floor and just take the hands behind. Pull that leg in. Okay, we're going to place the foot back down on the floor. We're going to switch sides. So pick that left leg up, place that across the right thigh. Push the knee away to start with. If you want to increase, pick the right leg up off the floor and just place the hands behind. Just taking some deep breaths here. Place them back down on the floor. We're going to uncross our legs and we're going to do our toe taps. We're going to do these in a slightly different position today. So if you do prefer to stay lay down and that's more comfortable for you, we can do your toe taps in the usual position. We're going to make it a little bit harder for ourselves and we're going to do it in a seated position. We're going to place our hands roughly either side of our hips, and we're going to lean back slightly as well. So we're not going to be sat bolt upright, we're going to be leaning back. Again, if you want to try it on your elbows like you did last week, you can. This one is slightly harder. So just lean back slightly, place the hands either side. I'm going to pick the legs up into our tabletop position kind of with our legs. I'm going to breathe in, on the out breath, we're just going to tap those toes down. So one by one, tapping them down, keeping them really slow and controlled. Now we're not bending the knee, so we're not doing the can-can. All the movement is coming from the hip joint and the core. So we're just tapping that down, moving the leg as one unit. If you want to make it even harder for yourself, you can take the hands off the floor. Oh, this is difficult. So breathing in, breathing back out. We're going to do 2 more each side, keeping them slow and controlled. And then going to hold the legs up. I'm going to try and take our arms off. We're going to do our boat pose. So see if you can balance, see if you can straighten the legs as well. Hold it. Breathing in, breathing back out. Oh, and place the feet back down. Well, I don't know if you managed that. That's quite a difficult one. We're going to do our reverse plank next. So this should stretch out the front of the body quite nicely. We're going to extend our legs out. We're going to take our hands behind. So just behind your hips. You can have the hands facing out towards the sides. You can turn them around towards the hips, or you can turn them all the way back around behind you. It completely depends on your shoulder anatomy and what's comfortable for you. So pick whichever you prefer. We're going to take a deep breath in. On the out breath, we're going to push through our hands, we're going to push through our feet, and we're going to lift that pelvis. So I really want you to think about squeezing the core. We're going to have a nice long plank position. So it's going to be nice and straight. Breathing in, breathing out, lowering that back down again. I want you to take a breath. We're going to do it 2 more times. So breathing in, breathing out, pushing through the feet, pushing through the hands, keeping the shoulders engaged, squeezing the glutes, pulling that belly in, lowering that back down. We're going to do 1 more. So take a deep breath in, on the out breath, pushing through the hands, keeping the shoulders engaged, pulling the hips up, pushing through the feet, keeping the legs nice and straight. Breathing in and placing that back down again. If you just want to give the wrist a little bit of a wiggle, get the blood flowing again, and just take a couple of breaths here. We're going to do a few roll downs from seated, well, roll ups from seated, and then we're done with the core, I promise. So we're just going to place the feet flat on the floor. We're going to have the knees bent up. We're going to place the hands lightly on the thighs. We're going to lengthen up through the spine, breathing in, on the out breath, pull that belly button in. We're going to roll down off the pelvis, slowly rolling down to the floor, down to the bottom of the shoulder blades, breathing in when we get here, and then breathing out and slowly rolling that back up again. All the way up to the top. Breathing in, breathing out, rolling that back down. So keeping that belly button pulled in. And really C-curving the spine as you go as well. Makes it a lot easier. So breathing in, breathing out, C-curving that spine. Placing the pelvis down first, then the lower back, down to the shoulder blades, bringing that back up. We're going to do 1 more. So see how slow you can make that. We're going to breathe in, we're going to breathe out, and we're really slowly going to lower that back down. So off the pelvis, keep it going really slow into the lower back. Really, really slow down to the waist and the ribs. And slowly place it on the floor. Well done. I want you to extend the legs out. Extend the arms and just take a really nice long body stretch. So really stretch that middle out. And we're going to finish with some nice hip rolls. So just get the upper part of the body comfortable on the floor. We're going to have the knees bent up. We're going to place our hands on the bottom of our ribs, just interlace the fingers. So you want to imagine it's quite like a seat belt, keeping the ribs and the upper part of the body still. And we're just going to let the knees go to roughly a 1 o'clock position. We're going to bring it into the centre, and then we're going to take them to that 11 o'clock position. Bring that back in. Let them drop the other way. So we're going to take it roughly to about 2 o'clock. Back into the centre. All the way over to that 10 o'clock position. Bring that back in. And we're going to keep that going. So we're just going to let the knees fall from side to side. We're just rolling through the hips. You want to close your eyes. This should feel relatively comfortable. The hips are going to lift off the floor slightly. Breathing into the nose. Breathing back out through the mouth. Going to go one more each side. We're going to finish with the knees back in the centre. Do a quick hamstring stretch. We're going to take that leg up into the air. I'm going to place the hands lightly either side of the thigh. Now make sure you keep the knee nice and straight. And you can have the foot flexed or pointed, whichever you prefer. Take the leg across the body. You should feel a stretch down the outside of that leg. Bring that back into the centre and take that all the way out to the side. Just support the hand underneath the leg. You should feel a stretch down the inside of the thigh. Bring that back into the centre, place the foot flat on the floor. I'm going to lift the other leg up into the air. Again, just place the hands lightly either side of the thigh. Taking some deep breaths. Again, you can flex or point that foot, whichever you prefer. Okay, we're going to take the leg across the body. Feel the stretch on the outside of the leg. Bring that back into the centre, take that all the way up to the side. Feel the stretch down the inside of the thigh. Okay, bring that back into the centre. I'm going to place the foot flat on the floor. I'm going to do our spinal twist. So just take your arms out to the side. Pick that right leg up, cross that over the left. And just let the knees drop towards the left-hand side. Bring the knees back into the centre. I'm going to uncross the legs. I'm going to cross the left over the right. And just let the knees drop towards the right hand side. Breathing into the nose. Breathing back out through the mouth. bring the knees back into the centre. I'm going to uncross the legs. Then we're just going to roll over onto our side and slowly make our way up into a seated position. So just take a minute here just to take a few deep breaths. Just bring yourself back into the room. And thank you very much for joining us. And if you do have any questions, any comments, anything like that, drop them in the comment section below. You can also drop us a message on any of our socials if you do have any ideas or any questions, anything like that. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to share the video with anyone that you think may enjoy it too. See you soon.